A very, very, very good evening. Tuesday, the 25th of July 2023. Those of you who are new to me and wondering who is this strange ethnic man that people join in and listen to, and why have I been come along? Well, you are going to be entertained, I think. Educated and entertained. Is that the best combination you can wish for? My name is Miah. This is a Recusant 9 transmission. This is the last of the season, I think. If we had the spring-summer season, today's transmission will be the last sort of this type of transmission until, I don't know, probably after the summer, early September is my plan. Of course, there's some workshops and other things I need to do with people, but that's the boring stuff that only the dedicated come along and torture themselves through. I don't expect the 80 of you who've already joined me this evening to put yourself through any of that. Those of you who are wondering what I'm doing here on a Tuesday, I was supposed to come on a Sunday night, but unfortunately other matters took precedence, and I was given the runaround a bit. I'll get to that maybe later. It's not really on my list of priorities, but I will get to that. Then those of you who are of that contingent, who are watching me without saying hello, shame on you. Shame on you. There's a crowdfunder up. I've pinned it at the top. Please, if you can, contribute. This is towards my election campaign for MP for Oldham West, Chadderton and Royton, as a new constituency is going to be called. It has 9 wards within it. And of course, we are campaigning to raise funds for me to fund all the literature, posters, flyers, all of that sort of stuff, to oust James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon, Keir Starmer's soon-to-be sacked Shadow Minister for Sewage. And for those of you who want to contact me repeatedly, there are 2 strands to this. No, there are 3. First strand, of course, is those lovely people who do contact me saying, Raja, let me know, leaflets, money, whatever, however I can help, I will. Thank you. And I will let you know, and I will call on your help, and I am calling on your help. So, thank you. Sorry, I'm just laughing at Evan, who likes to open some wine. It's usually on a Sunday night. Evan, I am not responsible if you decide to become an alcoholic. I drink Vimto. And my big tub of Vimto is also just about to finish. And my lighter for these candles behind me is just about also finished. So it's a good time to, we've got to the end of the season. So the first contingent are those who are supportive. Brilliant. Thank you very, very much. Then the second contingent are people who aren't even my friends, who somehow have decided they are my friends and are concerned for my welfare. And contact me and say you won't get any votes. You won't get any votes. And whatever votes you do get, it won't be enough and you'll be humiliated. And we care about you. And you've never cared about me in your entire lives. But it'd be a good thing if you didn't stand. And the third lot, there's a third contingent emerging, which I giggle at, who like to let me know through sources that they know that no one knows who I am. So what? By the time this is over, everyone in the 9 wards who picks up an election leaflet will know who I am. And since when did you care? Because the people who are contacting me that way to say no one knows who I am are more often than not people who have benefited from the activities and actions that I've conducted through these transmissions and the work I've done. You know who I am. But it just doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop here. Watch this. Look at this. I want to show you something. What's the right one? I want it on. I want it on. That's the one I want it on. This is Jim McMahon MP tweeting about me. Jim, my brother Jamal. My brother Jamal is tweeting about me. Now, there's 3 points to this, and I'll stop laughing. I'll try my best to stop laughing. There's 3 points to this. This is Keir Starmer's soon-to-be sacked shadow minister for sewage, replying to a malicious blogger and a liar, a known liar, proven to be a liar in court. McMahon is first of all responding to Neil Wilby, who's ranting and raving about me, which is nothing new. And, more worryingly, he's also responding to a man called Rusty Wheels. Now, those of you with long enough memories will know Rusty Wheels posted my address and a photograph of my front door, hiding behind this anonymous profile, with an incitement to have me attacked. So here you have Keir Starmer's soon-to-be sacked shadow minister for sewage engaging with 2 individuals, one a notorious malicious blogger and proven liar, Neil Wilby, and another one who, if the police got hold of him, would be arrested and charged for stalking, for harassment. So that's the seriousness. That's the seriousness of what's took place. Just give me 1 second, please. Just needed to put my phone on mute. That's the seriousness of what's took place. The second thing you've got to understand is here is a senior MP. This is how desperate it is. I'm obviously scaring him, worrying him. Remember, we're starting from 0 and he's on a voter base of 25,000. He's worried, isn't he? My brother Jamal is worried. My brother Jamal is worried. If he wasn't worried, he wouldn't be questioning my spending. At the very least, candidates must submit spending returns and ensure donations are in order. Will make interesting reading if he does stand, not least of all for his remaining supporters. Yes, he is threatening you, Ian. That's exactly what he's doing. He's threatening us. Well, mate, I know I'm not a convicted heroin dealer. And I know I'm not involved in money laundering. So maybe I'm different to the sort of men you nibble your samosas with. But do you not think I know the rules? Do you not think I know the rules? And Wilby and Rusty Wheels were objecting to me setting my crowdfunder, our crowdfunder, at £30,000. He's not changed his tune, Raymond. Well, he's gone to the Electoral Commission, and the Electoral Commission has told him to go and get stuffed. Mr. Raja Miah MBE to these people is allowed to stand as a candidate in the election on an anti-corruption, anti-rape gang platform. This is a democracy. Of course I'm allowed to stand. But he's so worried because normally what happens, and I'll bring myself back up. Normally what happens in the run up to an election is some independent comes along who has no idea what he or she is doing, runs off some leaflets and turns up and thinks they've got it. And they do well to get 500 votes, 1,000 votes. We're not doing that. And he knows. Just as all of those who are keen to tell me they don't know who I am, he knows what I can do. He has witnessed what I have done. Let me share with you the rules. Let me share with you the rules. This is the regulation of candidates' campaign expenditure, the long and short of it. House of Commons Library. There are two regulated periods. One is called the long campaign and the other one's the short campaign. The long campaign, essentially, we're in now. And I've got to check this out. I'm not even sure we're in the long campaign yet because Parliament has got to pass the boundary commission changes to create the new constituency boundaries. I don't know if that's happened yet, but that's by the by. The long campaign is basically from when I say I'm standing up to when the election is announced. And the short campaign is from the dissolving of Parliament up to the actual night of the general election. Those of you who followed me for the years you followed me, and even my critics, do you not think I fact check? Do you not think I go and get the information first? Idiots. And this is from 2014. So when this is announced, the figures will have gone up. But have a look at this. You know, when I put the £30,000 down, read that paragraph, that sentence. During the long campaign from 19th of December 2014 to the dissolution on the 30th of March 2015, the candidate's expenditure limit is £30,700 plus either 9 pence per elector or 6 pence per elector in a borough constituency. So it's 6 pence. So plus it's 30,700 plus 6 pence times 80,000 people or whatever it is. And then in the short campaign, you get to spend another £9,000. You know, 7,150 plus 7 pence per elector. Do you not think I've done this? How do you think we are where we are 5 years in? I was doing this. I'll have to check the exact dates, but I'm pretty sure I was sat advising government ministers whilst he was still working in a bloody supermarket or a shopping centre. What, just because I dress like this and I'm casual with people? Approachable, all of that sort of stuff? Have no airs and graces about me? Yeah, absolute muppet. But this is desperation. This is absolute desperation. Absolute desperation. Engaging with a malicious blogger and a proven liar and a man whose identity, if found, Greater Manchester Police will arrest for harassment and stalking. Keir Starmer's soon-to-be sacked shadow minister is crying at me fundraising. Crying at me fundraising. I do not think there is anything wrong with working in a supermarket. Sheila, I have worked cleaning toilets in my life. I'm just giving context. So Keir Starmer's shadow minister, soon to be sacked shadow minister for sewage, is desperately trying to target some of you and scare some of you off. And know the way crowdfunding works, I don't have to declare your names. I don't have to declare where the money's come from. Like it's come from, I'm sorry, Denise's name's just come up. Denise Leach has given me £25. There's a total I have, and I spend and I'll fill in the forms. And I am proud. I am proud not just to stand as an MP candidate in my hometown. I don't know what the word is. It's more than humbled. It's more than proud. My crowdfunding, people who are sending me money to stand, includes survivors of the rape gangs. It includes their families. It includes people who've been affected. I am standing for them. And they are supporting me. And this man, who when it was proven that children in our town were groomed and gang raped and they helped hide it, stood up in Parliament and claimed I was a racist and everyone who worked with me to expose what had took place was a far-right activist. I think once we get to that £30,000, I'll add a stretch target of another £10,000. What was it, £75,000 for that toilet? So I call it a £100,000 toilet. When he moved into Chadderton Town Hall, which by the way is like a mansion, he moved into a mansion. He took over a mansion from the council on mates rates rent. And then, not satisfied, had the council taxpayer spend another £100,000, or the council decided to spend another £100,000. You believe whatever narrative you want, but the outcome was that he had a new bog, a new toilet installed. There was a new toilet installed in Chadderton Town Hall. There's a link to my crowdfunder. I'm just going to bring it up and see how much we're up to. £2,280. So, it's modest. Slow steps. If you can, please support it. It's been supported by 34 people so far. Just 34 people so far have supported it. And there are 120 of you watching this. And I'll be very, very clear with you. I am not a politician. I am not a liar. I do not do dodgy deals. There's definitely not a woman or a young woman ever who's worked for me who said I've been inappropriate with her. I don't take advantage of discount bars. Maybe I would if they gave me lots of Vimto. I'm not like them. And I'll say to you now, and to some of the opposition candidates who are manoeuvring behind my back for reasons I don't understand. Because if you believe in what I do, which is justice, and those who failed our children to be held accountable and for a public inquiry, you now must also know you're not going to get it through the council chamber. 6 times it's been blocked. You need reinforcements. You need someone in. You need your MP to be backing you and campaigning for you in Parliament and putting pressure on the council. And if any of you think you can do it better than me, if any of you think you can do it better than me, you've got my phone number. Phone me and tell me, and I will step down straight away. And you can do it. If any of you legitimately think you can do this better than I can, phone me and tell me. In fact, phone me and tell me now. I know you're watching. Phone me and tell me now. I saw Warren Bates earlier today and he's here. He came and had a coffee with me, along with David Nestor and his wife and Lee Cook. My friend Gary Martin is on here, and he got in touch last week, which I need to all tell you about whilst I might as well do it now. He's coming up from Birmingham way. He'd like to spend a couple of days up here, and I'm thinking the middle of August. I'm thinking somewhere between the 13th and the 20th sort of August. I'll arrange an evening where we all sit together around Gary's timetable, because that's what's important to me, is the community that we've built. And that's the difference, isn't it, Tony? A friend of mine stopped me yesterday. And you know what he said to me? Raj, I'm voting for you. And I said, thank you. He goes, it's not for any of the other reasons. I agree with all of the other reasons you're campaigning for, but it's not for any of those reasons. I said, well, why are you voting for me? You're my mate. No, it's not that. I know when I phone you, you'll pick up the phone. I know if I need you, you'll come and try and help me. And surely, Tony, that's what your MP should be doing, fighting for the town and fighting for the people of the town. But yes, if you think you can do this better than me, instead of gossiping and whispering and critiquing my CV, I'm the first to say, you don't have to critique my CV. I'm the first to say I'm not a politician. I'm the first to say that the way I conduct a business is not cut out for this, because David Gidman's here. He phoned me an hour ago. I play it straight. I'm honest with you. I'm transparent with you. People have said to me, oh, why are you telling the people you're engaged with what you're getting up to, what you're doing here, why you're doing it? Because I'm telling all of you, and I've told all of you, because we're in this together. I'm not going to manipulate or play the people who hold me up. I'm going to share with them where we're up to, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and where my reservations are. At times I get frustrated having to explain myself, but I always explain myself when people ask me. So there we go. If any of you can do it better, call me. I'll step down. And if you can't do it better, either work with me or get out of my way. Because I'm not here to get 500 votes or 700 votes. Was it Lawrence Fox got 700 votes heading up a national party? We're going to campaign in a way this country has never seen before. And we've already achieved what this country has never seen before. Unless you're one of those deluded people who thinks that it was just coincidental that one leader after another was ousted and the Labour Party majority reduced to just 2, and had it not been for the Failsworth lot falling out with each other, we would have took it to no overall control. There are 3 schools of thought. It would have happened anyway. Well, if you want to believe that, fine, believe it. The second school of thought is I had nothing to do with it. Fine, if that's what you want to believe. And of course, the third school of thought is that I'm a far-right racist and you're all far-right racists, and I've mobilised the far-right. No, mate, I don't. And the people who are here, who are now not saying hello like they normally do, know full well. I am here to lead. I'm here to mentor. I'm here to support. I'm not here to stick my tongue up your backside. And some of what I say and how I say it can appear harsh. I accept that. I'm a northern man and I'm straight talking. I'm not a politician. But I won't lie to you. And my motives, if I'm disappointed in you, if I'm proud of you, like I was with Mark Ince last week, I'll say it. But my motives are always to improve you, strengthen you, and get you to be better. And if you can't see that, that's not about me. If after 5 years, some of you are questioning my motives, if you're questioning my motives and my intentions, well, then I suggest you look at yourselves in the mirror. And look to yourselves before you look to hold me responsible for whatever the imaginary demons you have. And I admit it now, as I've admitted it throughout. I make mistakes every day. I am here because I've made mistakes. And I judge the character of a person not by the mistakes they made, but why they set about to do what they did. And more importantly, what they did next. I'll leave that there. A very good evening to the latecomers. Good evening, Gail. I think I saw Nikki here earlier and Julie's here as well. Nick's here from... I saw the interview you did, Nick, with Nick from... who's standing to be mayor in Greater Manchester. I will arrange a gathering in the autumn. He is going to come to Oldham and we'll host him for a fundraiser at one of the restaurants. So we will do that. Here is Dr. Chauhan. As many of you know, Dr. Chauhan is currently suing me. And I have many issues with Dr. Chauhan. I am proud of our mayor. Despite him being a Labour Party politician, despite everything, him voting with the blocking of the public inquiries, despite all of that, I am proud that he is holding up a pride flag, knowing that he's of Pakistani origin and also a Muslim. Here is the Labour Party contingent that went to Pride. Not a single... Now, you've got to exclude Dr. Chauhan because he's there in his capacity of the mayor. There's the expectation of the mayor to be at civic events. If he can go and open a car showroom like he did the week before, it would be outrageous of him not to have attended Pride. So let's take the mayor out of this for 1 second. Arooj Shah, the leader of the council, is not there. You saw the council meeting where she refused to answer the question, and between her and Shahid Mushtaq, we all racist, Islamophobes, and they were the victims. Because Julie Haywood asked a simple question, made no reference to faith, made no reference to religion or ethnicity, gender, none of that, and just said, would Arooj Shah in her capacity as leader attend Pride? Would Dr. Chauhan in his capacity as mayor attend Pride? Would Mohan Ali in his capacity as portfolio holder for education attend Pride? They claimed we are racists and Islamophobes and they were the victims. Well, here we go. Not a single one of Arooj Shah or her 5 Muslims on her cabinet. So there's 9 members, 9 senior politicians in Oldham. 5 of them are Muslim. Not one of them showed for Pride. Quick to shout racism, quick to shout Islamophobia, but when the prejudices are tested, either of their own or those from within their own communities, they were not there. My position on gay rights has been clear from the beginning. I am a human rights campaigner. I am an equality. I've been rewarded for my work on equality and human rights. I stand alongside all of Oldham's communities and I celebrate alongside all of Oldham's communities. You'll recall Arooj Shah's childhood friend's conviction was because he had claimed his scouts had followed me home and found me engaged in some form of gay activity. Her friend Kasim Lenny from Oldham News and Media, that Greater Manchester Police refused to arrest, claimed I was a gay Christian convert in an attempt to incite jihadists to kill me. I was contacted by Muslims who told me, Raja, just say you're not gay. And I refused because I knew by saying I'm not gay, encourage them to attack those that are. And I am disgusted in our town civic leaders, the leader, the deputy, Fida Hussein, whatever it is, the business portfolio. Fida Hussein is the business portfolio holder. Not there. Mohan Ali, the education portfolio holder, not there. Shahid Mushtaq, not there. Abdul Jabbar, the finance lead, not there. And of course, the leader of Oldham Council, but not just the leader of Oldham Council, Andy Burnham's equality lead, Arooj Shah, has boycotted Pride. Her position as equalities lead for Andy Burnham is untenable. How can the other Greater Manchester leaders support Arooj Shah in that position, knowing that Arooj Shah refused to answer a simple question as to whether or not she would attend Pride and then failed to turn up for Pride? Your actions define you, but in the context of Arooj Shah, both her words and her actions defined her. Well, mate, as I've said to all my Muslim friends, if you're not going to vote for me because I refuse to discriminate against one group whilst fighting the injustices you suffer as another group, then I don't want your vote. Because you've got to understand that discrimination and hatred of people who are different, there's no place for that. And more so, we are judged. If you genuinely believe in this, you fight more for the issues that don't affect you than the ones that do. Like I said, if it's votes before Pride, Raymond, it probably is. And I've probably lost a couple of thousand votes because of that. I'm not a politician. This is a letter Warren Bates received. It's important. It came from Oldham Council. If you recall, Warren Bates was given some sort of fake ASBI by Emma Barton, the chief executive, Dirty Harry Caffrell, resigning. The borough solicitor was in charge, involved in it. Paul Entwistle. Lewis Greenwood, who's now run away, was involved in it. And the Director of Constitutional Services, who's now on long-term sick, Elizabeth Drogan. Further to the warning letter to you on the 25th of July 2022, we write to clarify the source of some of the information in relation to a member of the media being accosted after the meeting on the 27th of June 2022. So Warren Bates had been banned from attending council meetings because the allegation was, and remember, the police came to visit him with a letter. On a letterhead with Oldham Council. The police came and accused him of accosting a journalist we know as the local democracy reporter Charlotte Green. We are aware that there has been speculation. There's no speculation, mate. I've called it out for what it is because I was there. We are aware that there has been speculation online that this information was provided by the journalist in question. We can confirm that no complaint has been made to the council by that journalist. The information about the incident was provided by an independent witness who was also present. Okay, so and this was unsigned. Community Safety Services unsigned. So Oldham Council have decided to ban a member of the public from attending council meetings because someone else said a journalist had been assaulted, and that journalist herself said that wasn't the case. Oh, no, I'm not confused. If you're confused, I'm not confused. That's what happened. And yes, Julie, an 83-year-old pensioner, 84-year-old pensioner at the time, apparently assaulted a journalist, and there's 20 of us there, and we also, the journalist bop up with a back, with a rucksack and went off. So OMBC claim that the journalist has confirmed with them that they never made the complaint. So the victim is confirming they were not a victim. But an independent witness who was present is claiming otherwise. Who was that independent witness? Was it Irish Imi? Was it Arood Shah? Was it Mohan Ali? Was it Jim McMahon? So a man's been denied his democratic right. This is a former councillor, by the way. and they won't sign it. This is a corrupt council. It's an out-of-control council, and the sooner the government step in, the better. And the government will not step in until I am in Parliament using parliamentary privilege to call these people out for what they are. Corrupt criminals and complicit in the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of our town's children. And I will do it every day at every opportunity. I will name them. I will name every member in the community services team. As to if he's still banned, my understanding, Denise, from what I heard Burnham Shah say at the last council meeting, was they were deciding whether or not to extend the bans. Out of control, out of control. And what should happen? What should happen? Is that one of the opposition councillors stands up and uses, the opposition leaders, uses their questions to hold the council to account on this. Not just the bans, but also the hypocrisy of the Labour Party position of wanting IDs to go into a public meeting whilst claiming that people don't need IDs or shouldn't need IDs to vote. They can extend something that is unlawful because people don't have the means to challenge them. It will be a judicial review, and a judicial review costs tens of thousands to do properly and get the lawyers in. And they don't have an MP to speak out on their behalf. Because I would march to the Civic Centre as your MP, with you next to me, and would live broadcast it. And then I'd name them in Parliament. That's exactly what they are, Gary. They are fascists. They are fascists. We've been playing around with the name of a political party or a new group or a banner. We need a banner. We need a name that we'll operate under. It's looking either Oldham People's Alliance or Oldham's Community Coalition, or a combination of Oldham Community Alliance maybe, or Oldham People's Coalition. There'll be something like that. So I'll get that sorted over the summer holidays. Thank you to all of you who, between Twitter and on YouTube, contributed to those discussions. Here we have the Mayor Zahid Chauhan with the Mirpuri Association, a delegation from Mirpur. Now, I have no issue with Dr. Chauhan hosting a delegation of Mirpuris in the council chamber. What I do have an issue with, is that they're all men. That they're all men. Just as Dr. Chauhan is challenging homophobia in his own community, our community, he should also be challenging this. Remember that photograph of Jim McMahon in that room full of Asian men? I find this deeply uncomfortable in our civic chamber. Not because the Muslim men sat there, not because of the brown faces, more so because it's all men sat there. Mirpur, of course, is the district of Pakistan, Kashmir, that Dr. Chauhan is from. So what they are doing, and I use that term very loosely, Sheila, is they are importing the Pakistani and Bangladeshi politics into Oldham more and more, as the young men and young women see themselves more inclusive as British. It is harder and harder for these people to draw on the old tribal bravery system sort of loyalties. I know in my own community, in my own Bangladeshi community, what's took place is that last Friday at Oldham Central Mosque, the Bangladeshi National Party were at Oldham Central Mosque on Friday prayers handing out leaflets, and Abdul Jabbar was posing with them. Councillor Abdul Jabbar. I don't think any of this is healthy. Importing the divisive politics of other countries into our communities here in England, I do not think is healthy. And I don't think any one of our politicians really should be entertaining that. Ordinarily, Sheila, and I'll be honest with you, I've before I came back, I paid very little interest to local politics, small p politics, council politics. I paid very little interest. My career was in a different place. But I always remember a mayor and a mayor's consort. So if the mayor was a woman, the mayor's consort would be the husband or partner of some form, or brother or sister even. And vice versa. The mayor was a man, his wife, or his female companion of some form would attend functions together. I'm not seeing a lot of Dr. Chauhan's wife. Now, I don't know why that is. So I couldn't tell you why that is. Maybe someone ask him. And he's been all right, hasn't he? Give him his due. Since he became mayor, he's been all right. So I'm sure he'll respond to that question and he'll explain what's going on. But photographs like this with the Mirpuri Association and what Abdul Jabbar did at the Central Mosque last week, it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. Moving on. How are we doing for time? 10 o'clock. Okay, coming up to an hour. Greater Manchester Oldham Central. On the 17th of September 2021, this was the police this was the Facebook post on Greater Manchester Police's Oldham's Facebook page. Introducing your dedicated Chief Superintendent for Oldham, Chris Bowen. As promised by Chief Constable Stephen Watson, GMP will now have a dedicated Chief Superintendent in every district to ensure that you're receiving the best service possible from your police force. Let me find the right one. Here we go. And this was and I've done it on purpose, the Oldham Times. This is the Oldham Times headline. New chief superintendent for Oldham Police after shake-up at top. James Much has now run away. And you can see Chris Bowen talking him up. Making these appointments is a great stride in the right direction of our journey to improve GMP. Not soon after, James Much again, 3rd of January. How Oldham's top cop is taking the fight to criminals, really pushing Bowen. There you go, here he is again. Operation Vortex, day of action. Following the Operation Vortex, this is his defining moment. As darkness falls, GMP chief follows up dramatic Churchill speech with updates on more than 50 arrests. And you can see he's working with Oldham Council in the background, so they lit up the Civic Centre. He gave an update. He was forced to attend outside the police station with Saeed Osman, by the way. Oh, Saeed Osman. Saeed Osman is Oldham Council's Deputy Chief Executive. He attends all the community functions. He wasn't at Pride. Saeed Osman is the Deputy Chief Executive of Oldham Council. And he wasn't at Pride, even though his remit is, just go on his Twitter page, you'll see. He attends all the community venues, community events. So you'll have to ask Harry Caffrell why neither he nor his deputy were at Pride. Yes, I know he used about 200 police to arrest 50 petty criminals, Denise. But, you can see his high profile, isn't it, Denise? I think that's the point I'm trying to get to you. His high profile. Gives an update into the firebombing of Arooj Shah's car. He gave that update, remember? It was ongoing. He went to the council meeting and gave a presentation last year, remember? December last year, went to the council meeting. They suspended the meeting so he could actually go in the council meeting. As recently as February 2023, he is the chief superintendent praising the public support of Operation Avro Day of action. So February this year, only a few months ago. Here's March. Andy Burnham. Oldham to see biggest change to police in a generation. GMPs to go back to basics. Whatever that means. 260 police constables and neighbourhood teams. Don't say how many in Oldham. 3 neighbourhood teams in Oldham will be 1 inspector, 3 police. I mean, that means nothing, does it? So, they're talking it up. And you can see Burnham there talking it up. Yeah, on the 24th of July, the Oldham Times, and by the way, he's gone. As I confirmed to you some time ago, he's gone. On the 24th of July, the only story the Oldham Times published about a police officer named is this lady, and you can see it's Olivia Bridge. Don't know what the article is, but, they've named someone. But the guy's gone. The guy's gone. And we know he's gone. We know he's gone. And you can decide if this is accidental, coincidental, or something more. Just one moment. I know this is a live transmission, so people put things up. And when they're important, I want to go back to them. Corrupt people are blackmailing voters with tribal loyalties of faraway lands, not exactly inclusive, especially as it's men only. You're not going to get a disagreement from me, are you? I've been fighting against this for years. You're not going to get a disagreement from me. So this is how we found out he's gone. At the council meetings 2 Wednesdays ago, I think Denise and Eva went for a shandy or a sherry, or a sandy and a sherry, I don't know, and were merrily making their way home when 2 police officers came to coincidentally check on them. And then they shared information that Commander Bowen was no longer in charge of Oldham. Denise just mentioned it to me in passing. I thought, hold on, the most high-profile police officer has got moved on and no one knows, no one knew, but 2 police officers just happened to mention it to you. Okay, I'll take that as a coincidence if you want, but I'll take the information, which isn't a coincidence, and I went and cross-referenced it. Checked with my sources at Greater Manchester Police. Is gone. And Oldham Council, its partners, Arud Shah, won't issue a statement that the most senior officer, the most senior police officer in Oldham has gone. Greater Manchester Police won't issue a statement that the most senior police officer in Oldham has gone. No, who arrived with much fanfare. And Andy Burnham, the Police and Crime Commissioner, delegated to his deputy, Kate Green, won't issue a statement as to where or why Commander Bowen is no longer in Oldham. Now, I know where Commander Bowen is because I asked around. I know where he is. But this is what they did to Commander Bowen. GMP superintendent, remember, he's a chief superintendent, yeah? But these things are on purpose. Suspended after misconduct allegation. So they put out this statement. The Greater Manchester Police put out this statement. A high-ranking Greater Manchester police officer has been suspended after a misconduct allegation. The Greater Manchester Police Superintendent has been suspended from duty following an internal allegation of misconduct. And it goes on. And it appears that the misconduct is sexually related. Okay, it's not in this article, but I've seen it somewhere. That, you know, he's done something inappropriate. The allegation is some inappropriate behaviour with a woman. And they don't name him. They don't name him. Let me show you, sorry. That's me. There you go. GMP superintendent suspended after misconduct allegation. They don't name him. Now you need to understand what's going on here. Or what I think is going on here. And it's up to you whether you believe me or not. The most senior police officer in Oldham mysteriously disappears. The council don't issue a statement. The police don't issue a statement. The politicians that control the police, as in the Police and Crime Commissioner, doesn't issue a statement. And instead, the Oldham Times and the Manchester Evening News release articles saying a senior police officer, superintendent, has been suspended. Automatically, you're meant to think, in my opinion, Bowen's been suspended for messing around with a girl somewhere, or a female police officer, or... You know, well, you've seen what's gone on. He hasn't. Bowen's been sidelined. Thank you, Gary. It was sexual misconduct with another officer, wasn't it? I'm sure I've seen it somewhere. No. This isn't a cover-up. This isn't a cover-up. It's more dangerous than that. I'll get to it. This is more dangerous than that. So Bowen has gone to, let me just bring it up so I get it right. He's gone to be something called FHQ. He's gone to FHQ, which is the headquarters in Newton Heath. Is it not Newton Heath? You know the tram station when you go down Manchester Road towards Manchester on the right hand side, near Monsell. He's going to become the lead for district operating model. He's been sidelined into a paper shuffling job. He's been sidelined into a paper shuffling job. And not only has he been sidelined, as punishment, in my opinion, into a paper shuffling job, the police themselves, yes, Central Station, that's the one that is, the police themselves are releasing information into the community where we mistakenly think that Commander Bowen is being investigated for sexual misconduct with another officer. He's not. He's been sidelined. So let me get to what I've been able to make sense of, speaking to people I know who are police officers, speaking to people who I know the inner workings of Greater Manchester Police. Bowen came under much fanfare in September 2021. Less than 2 years. Less than 2 years. Headhunted. District Commander. By the time he arrived, 3 things had already happened. Operation Hexagon had already been launched. Greater Manchester Police had already maliciously arrested me with 8 police officers. In fact, today's the 2-year anniversary of that. And Arooj Shah's car had been firebombed. He came in and the CSE stuff bubbling away in the background. So he came in and he was trying to get his head around what was going on. The evidence against me didn't stack up. And that caused them a headache, and I got an apology from them for 8 police officers hammering down my door. You all saw him on that video where he said at the council meeting, when I think it was Councillor, what's the Failsworth councillor called? I forget. Anyway, one of the councillors asked him a question about the firebombing of Arooj Shah's car and the delay in investigation, and he said it was still ongoing. And you saw his face on that video. Now, what's happened there is he's been blocked from investigating that, hasn't he? He's been blocked. There's no such thing. Thank you, Denise Hoban. He's been blocked from investigating that. Because if he was investigating that, if my car or any of your cars had been blown up and the CCTV footage showed I'd not parked it where I normally park it, which is outside my house, but I parked it on the next street, and I'd left the doors unlocked, and a random car just happened to come along, open the door, pour petrol in, smash the window afterwards, blow it up and then run off, I or any of you would be interviewed as a suspect. Am I right or am I wrong? Any of you police officers or not a law, you know I or any of you, if that was our car in those circumstances, we would be interviewed under caution as a suspect. So you can't go and interview the most senior politician in the town. Andy Burnham's equality lead, the chair of the National Constitutional Committee of the Labour Party. And he's been mocked by the entire town. He's been mocked by the entire town. The second thing that took place was just before the elections, I was arrested off the back of an anonymous complaint that I had upset Muslims. Me being a Muslim, by the way, but I'd upset Muslims off an anonymous complaint, a dawn raid on my house to take my phone, take my computers, and took me to this central station. Not a single police officer who arrested me owned up to being the arresting officer. They wouldn't say who authorised my arrest. At no point would any police officer own up to who authorised my arrest. They were keen to point out it wasn't them. I then found out whilst I'm locked up at Central Station that Commander Bowen was also at Central Station at the same time. Not at Oldham, but he was at Central Station at the same time. You can think it's a coincidence if you want. So this unnamed police officer from behind a hidden window, however it works, is instructing low-ranking officers to interview me. What do you think I did? I had some fun. My solicitor enjoyed watching me have some fun. In fact, he tells me all the time, every time I get arrested, it's a great day out for him. They tried to get a fast-track charging decision. This is all unlawful, by the way, what they're trying to do. Without interviewing me, off the back of an anonymous complaint, to put me on remand and have me locked up until after the elections. Lock me up for 2 weeks. That's what they tried to do. And not only did they fail to do that, I was released without charge. And that is going through a legal process right now, where Greater Manchester Police will be forced to apologise for what they did. But Bowen bottled it. When it came to trying to order my detention based upon everything that had gone on and with his own low-ranking police officers very uncomfortable, that level of uncomfortableness, because I have nothing against these low-ranking police officers, when they come and knock on my door to drag me off, not one of them will ever say I've treated them with anything other than dignity and respect. In fact, they come assertive and aggressive. And within a few minutes, and having a look around my living room and quickly work out, I share it with my 8-year-old daughter and her Lego collection. They quickly work out what's gone on, and they change their tune. So Bowen was in the other room, and when it came down to it, neither him or his police officers, to give him their due, would charge me on fabricated charges. They refused to charge me. He was hiding, wasn't he, Denise? When we went to launch my election campaign outside Oldham Police Station and we went in wanting to see him, he wouldn't come out to see us, would he? So all that is also adding to his pressure. Come on, how did we start this evening? Some people think it's a joke. It's not a joke. We're standing against Jim McMahon in the parliamentary election. So much so that McMahon is so worried he's tweeting on the post of a malicious blogger about my expenses. So Bowen can see what's going on. Andy Burnham 3 weeks ago hauled everyone in so they could confirm that the assurance review was okay, when we all know it wasn't. So Burnham's under pressure, because a public inquiry will see the end of Burnham as well, by the way, for the assurance review he commissioned in Oldham, as well as seeing the end of McMahon for his role whilst leader of the council. and seeing the end of a number of police officers, shaming the press, it will also see the end of Burnham. And by now it should be very clear that I'm not going anywhere. No matter how many times they arrest me. Because I have seen tyranny in countries that do not have the freedoms we have. And I will fight to protect our freedoms. So, he bottled it. And what they wanted to do was arrest me and lock me up to protect Amanda Chadderton. And we got rid of Amanda Chadderton. We made her so unpopular that Marie and Stephen Bashforth finished ahead of her. Even though before that, she was the highest, most popular Labour Party politician. Now, you can say other people did that if you want. But there's a correlation, isn't there? By now, there's a correlation with where I campaign and how I campaign. But that's not why he got sidelined. I can only share with you my perspective. And I analyze stuff. You've seen it. You've all seen it. What caused the reaction of the most senior police officer to be sidelined? When he was, Denise. Anyone? On the night of between the 6th and 7th of May, Mohammed Imran Ali, Arooj Shah's whatever, was arrested by Greater Manchester Police for criminal damage and possession of an offensive weapon. People I know who were there and who've seen the ring bell and footage and all that claim it was a machete. If it wasn't a machete, it was a bladed instrument. It was a knife, if you want to say it was a knife or it was a machete. Hence Lewis Quigg's opening quib about the machetes being out. When he was arrested, he wasn't immediately charged. He was locked up for a number of days, is my understanding. Yes, indeed, Raymond, the humanitarian. Rehabilitated childhood friend. Now, there are a number of issues I want to raise with you here. During the time of his incarceration, Arooj Shah would have known. And even though she knew, and she also knew that on the day of her re-election, with him celebrating behind her, he'd just been convicted that morning. So even though she knew he'd been convicted in the morning, and even though she knew he'd been picked up by the police for criminal damage and possession of an offensive weapon, she gave an interview with Kevin Fitzpatrick from the BBC claiming he was rehabilitated. That should be a suspension in its own right. Just the chair of the Labour Party's National Constitutional Committee. This is Andy Burnham's equality lead. But put that to one side for now. He should have been charged pretty straightforward almost immediately. It took some time. Remember, there's video footage, evidence, witnesses. My understanding, it took several days. I can only conclude that pressure was put on, political pressure was put on Chris Bowen not to charge Mohammed Imran Ali, Irish Imi, Dale Cregan's ghetto driver. The only correlating factor I can see in all of this as to why Bowen's been sidelined was because he refused to look the other way, and he decided he was going to charge Mohammed Imran Ali. And the consequence of his decision to charge Mohammed Imran Ali led to him being removed in his role of district commander of Oldham. So a police officer who went against the council and went against the Labour Party administration has now been removed. You all should be worried. You all should be worried at the ramifications of this. I think that's exactly what took place, Debbie. Thank you for making it succinct. I think Commander Bowen got sidelined because he authorised Irish image charges. I think that was the tipping point. Him refusing to have me charged, they weren't happy about. And then ultimately him authorising charges against Irish Imi is what was the final straw. Yes, Marlene, I've shared where he's gone. He's gone to headquarters in some pen pushing job. And not a single newspaper, the Oldham Times, not one of them will share with you that the most senior police officer is now, the town's most senior police officer, that they have been regularly featuring, is now not with us. But they'll run a headline of an unnamed senior police officer who's been suspended for sexual misdemeanours. Alleged sexual misdemeanours. This is the police not just sidelining him, but persecuting him. And am I defending a man who's repeatedly authorised my arrest? No, of course I'm not. But I know what persecution looks like and feels like, because 2 years today, to this very day, this is the headline that I came home to. Man 48 arrested in connection with GMP's Operation Hexagon, but more so, child sexual exploitation in Oldham. And Greater Manchester Police, in partnership with the malicious blogger and the Oldham Times, had claimed I had been arrested as a potential child sex offender. That's exactly what they've done to Bowen. That's what the police have done. The politicians that run the police have done to a 28-year time served senior police officer who I have no love for. I've made that clear. I have no love for Dr. Chowan. I've made that clear. But what I've always been clear on is calling it as I see it, and right is right and wrong is wrong, and what's happened to Commander Bowen is outrageous. What these people have done to Commander Bowen is outrageous, and I think why he has been moved, what was the final straw for Burnham's team, the Labour Party that run the police, that control the police, was that Irish Imi was charged. How do you feel? if they can do this to one of their own, one of the highest ranking one of their own, what else do you think they'll do to us? Or more to the point, me. I'm standing for MP. I'm standing because I believe in my town. I believe in the people of my town. I believe in every one of you. I believe these people need to be held to account, and the lawlessness in Oldham needs to be exposed at a national level in Parliament. I genuinely believe, if you want a public inquiry into the cover-up of the gang rape of little girls in our town, an agenda that you've made, gained from, politically, those of you who are now politicians who never were politicians before, as a consequence of me risking my life and fighting for this, then you will support me. And if you don't support me, you'll not answer to me, you will answer to the people of our town. I have proven myself. I am not a politician, I am not a deceiver, a liar, manipulator. I don't play that game. So when I come back in September, so there's no ambiguity, and people have fair warning, I'm going to meet the coldest independents tomorrow. These are my family. These are the people whose tables I sat on as a child and ate. The mothers and the grandmothers put food in my mouth. Yet I am going to see my family tomorrow, and I am telling them. When May comes, however you stand, whichever banner you stand under, you will support me as well. And if you don't, I will fight you in coldest. And believe me, if I'm going to be prepared, if I'm prepared to fight my own, don't for 1 minute think I won't do it in other areas, in other wards. There are 9 wards in Oldham, and by the time September comes, I'll have the partnerships in place. And my ask is a simple one. You endorse my candidacy if you're an independent. And if you're not an independent, I understand. If you're a Conservative or a Lib Dem, you can't. Even Labour, by the way, you can't. But we have an agreement in place of your support. And if you can't do that, I will field candidates in those wards. The likelihood is the vote will be split. Labour may get in, but I don't care, because I am here to fight for the children of our town, and we will not get justice in the council chamber. I need to gain momentum in all of these wards, because if you're telling me people don't know who I am, well, then your job is to help people know who I am. So have a think. Because I know the people of my town are with me. I know I'm not reading the room wrong. I know we've travelled a journey and overcome what most would have thought insurmountable odds. And we've done so through nothing other than the good fortune of my misfortune and finding myself back in my hometown under the circumstances I did, with a broken relationship, a whole host of lies told about me that have all been, by the way, proven to be false, and a terminally ill mother. And Warren Bates, who's here, who was so insistent in meeting with me that on the first day my daughter started school, immediately after dropping her off, I drove to his house to meet with him. And the rest is, well, they can try and rewrite it, but the rest is history. If you can, please support the crowdfunder. You can see what we've done. You can see how scared they are. You can see how they're running all over the place. And even those who've gone along with it are now saying, enough is enough. I'm not willing to go along with it anymore. And to my friends, as Warren Bates reminded me this morning, don't fall out with people, Roger. I'm not falling out with anyone. I'm asking you to honour your obligations. And if I'm not the right man, come forward and say you will stand. And the first thing I will do is stand beside you. Very, very good evening.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.